Okay, hope you enjoyed that.
So
Thank you
I,
very much.
How do you share that as
Definitely. I
friends?
want to
Oh,
save
wait,
that.
yeah,
hold on a
go
second.
ahead,
So
Kim.
I just want everybody to realize we are live streaming. Okay. So I turned on the live stream while the song was playing. So just be aware of that. We're live streaming on YouTube. Dave just walked in the door. There was a huge accident on the throughway. So I emailed him the link again because he couldn't find it. So we will get him shortly if he's not in. So let me start by saying welcome to Project Civica's statewide meeting. We meet every Thursday and at 7:30. We also have several other meetings during the week. So if you're interested in voter roll research or precinct strategy, those kinds of a couple other topics that we have. Somebody's texting me. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Dave. Looks like we're good. Um, It's probably going to say my name too. Anyways, sorry, other meetings, we would love for you to join us. So we always start with a prayer. So Danielle, if you would start with a prayer, that would be wonderful. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Hermance, and I am the president and co-director of Project Civica. And Danielle is my favorite other co-director. Of course, she's the only other co-director, but she's my favorite. Anyways, so Danielle, why don't you start us with a prayer?
Sure. Lord, we just invite you to be present with us. Uh, we thank you for the wonderful gifts that we have. We ask that you would direct our paths. We ask that you would protect our country, our state, and our local communities, and right down to our families, Lord. Give us a clear vision for what it is that you want us to do, and go before us so that we would be successful. And we just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Uh, did we get Dave yet?
A Zoom user just came on. I'm not sure if that's him.
That's
Hey,
me.
Dave. How
Yeah,
you doing, Dave?
or
Hey,
he
This is
got
John,
stuck
the
in
data
that
guy.
Do you want to
accident.
do the announcements first
I
and
like your
then
mustache, Dave.
quick announcements?
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody, okay? You want to do that, Danielle? Are you co-host?
Um, yes,
No,
I
I
can.
got it. All right. Hopefully I didn't mute myself. All right. So just a couple of announcents after our prayer. We have a number of events coming up this week, this month. Starting this Saturday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we have a Freedom in Motion event. Basically, what it is a like a Zumba type event where you can join in the privacy of your own home. Bring, wear sneakers, comfortable clothes, and it's patriotic music, Zumba. We have two certified instructors who wanted to help us out, and this was their idea. And so we are streaming it. And so invite all your friends and family to jump on. You can get a link to it at our website, projectcivica.org, and sign up for the event this weekend. Like I said, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you sign up, you get the link to use again. So we have extremely cold weather here in upstate New York. I'm guessing you have that nasty weather somewhat downstate. So to get, you can't get out for your walks, maybe you can't get out to exercise, but you could put on that link and at least exercise that way. So sign up for that. And then also this coming Wednesday, a week, little less than a week away, Wednesday, February 4th, we will be in Albany for Lobby Day, and Dave DiPietro is hosting us in his office, so we appreciate that, but it's not too late to sign up and go. So if you're still interested in joining us in Albany, we would love to have you. Just either sign up on our website or you can message Danielle or I and join in that. And then lastly, on Monday, February 9th at, I believe, 7 p.m., Danielle, is that correct?
Uh, yes, no,
Time?
it's usually at 7 p.m. But are you talking about the kickoff?
The precinct strategy kickoff, is that 7 p.m.?
7:30. I think it's 7:30.
7:30? Okay. 7:30 p.m. is the precinct strategy kickoff. We encourage everyone to become committee people in their election district or a nearby election district. So if you want to learn about what that is, how you might get involved, how you might represent your neighborhood in your local political party, uh, we understand a lot of the positions are empty across the state. I do believe a lot of the county committee chairs appoint people on those positions, but I know at least in Erie County, the county committee chairperson here, Michael Cracker, would love to have lots of people helping out on the ground. And that's basically what a committee person does, represent their local neighborhood with their party. And there's always a lot of work to do in terms of getting out the vote. And that's really one of the big jobs of the committee person in their neighborhood, as well as getting people information about what candidates there are. And if Patrick is here, we could have him jump on afterwards and talk a little bit more about it. Anyways, I don't want to wait any longer. I want to introduce Dave DiPietro. He is an assemblyman in Albany. He is known as, I think, being one of the few true conservatives up in Albany, probably in the nation. And he gets an award for that every single year. Personally, I find him super supportive of all grassroots efforts and just a principled man, really stands on who what his beliefs are, and you can see that in how he acts in Albany and how he, just even around Western New York, how he advocates for his constituents and the state in Albany. So I want to welcome David. I know he had a rush home. He got caught in that major pileup on the thruway. So I really appreciate, probably hasn't even had dinner yet. So I appreciate your jumping on. Can you unmute, or do I have to unmute you? There
Thanks
you
for
go.
having me. Yeah, so thanks. That was a very nice introduction. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that you were talking about Mike Cracker. And so on February 12th, Mike, the Erie County Republican Party is giving me the Lincoln Leadership Award, Lifetime Achievement, and that's their highest award that they can give. And so that's a real big honor. I'm excited about that. That's on February 12th. If anybody's interested, it's just going to be a cocktail party right in West Seneca here. So looking forward to having you guys down next week. And like I said, we can use my office. What time you guys do you think you'll be coming in on Wednesday morning?
My first appointment is 9 a.m. So
Okay.
I kind of need to be there earlier. I don't know, is 8:30 too early? That's what I told Nancy.
No, if I was just gonna say, if you want me to get some coffee and donuts, or if you guys do something like that, we can, or something, if you're gonna do some snacks or whatever you need, let me know and I'll try and get stuff.
Okay, we'll talk to you afterwards, but we appreciate that. Yeah,
Okay.
we planned on having some refreshments for people, and then also bringing in something for lunch, and then your coffee, donuts, something along those lines as well, since everybody's starting out nice and early. So
Okay.
yeah, I have my first 9 a.m. meeting with I forget his first name, Walczak, the minority of the Senate, Senator Walczak, right?
Mark Walczak, yes, he used to be an
Mark, that's it,
assemblyman with me.
Yeah.
Yes, I know Mark well. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think he was a senator.
He is. He was
Yeah.
in the assembly, and then he jumped up. The gentleman there retired, and I think he took that spot.
Got it. So yeah. So we anyway, and yeah. So anyways, we asked Dave to come on the meeting today to talk a little bit about what's supposed to happen in the legislature, how a bill becomes a law, I guess, is the way it's supposed to work, and then what actually happens in Albany. Maybe you can start with the PC, and that doesn't mean Project Civica, the politically correct version first, and then you can talk about what you experience.
Okay, sure. So the politically correct. way that a bill becomes a law is someone like me, any one of the elected officials writes a bill, has an idea for a bill, and we have a bill drafting spot in Albany with about 8 or 9 people that's what they do. They're attorneys and they actually write the bills. So you don't have to be an attorney. They do all the legal legwork and financial legwork if there's money involved. Say you want to, for whatever you want to do, if it costs money. So you get an idea, you take it down to bill drafting. They put it together, usually pretty quickly, a few days. And once you think it's good, then that you put your name on it, it gets a number, and then it becomes an official bill. Then what has to happen is, so now I'm in the assembly and I write a bill. I have to become a law. It's a couple part process. So now I have to have a senator take the exact same bill. You can't change one word. It has to be the exact same. So if I write this bill, I see if a senator would want to take it, if they think it's a good bill. If they do it, they do the same thing and they introduce the exact same bill in the Senate. Both have to be voted on and passed. And then it would go to the governor. When they both get voted on and passed, then it would go to the governor. And then there's a time stipulation where she has to sign it or not. If she signs it, it becomes law. If she doesn't, it gets submarined and it doesn't become a law. So it's my House, Senate have to be exact, gets voted on, passed, goes to the governor to sign, and then and that's the final step. And then now, how do you want to know how it really works? That's how,
Well,
that's how it
so-
works in the real world. That's how it works around most of the country. Okay.
What I was going to say is when you introduce a bill, like to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty.
Sure.
So I know, all right, so the bill initially gets introduced to either the Assembly or the Senate floor, I guess, the whole thing. And then I always read that it gets read, I think, twice somehow. I've seen that. And then it gets somehow moved to committees. So maybe you could kind of go through that a little bit on the process.
Sure. So I write a bill, it just doesn't go on the floor for a vote. I write a bill and then it has to get vetted by the majority and it goes, which they always do because then it goes into a committee, whatever committee that bill they deem that starts at. So it could start in agriculture, it could start in not codes, but it could start in tourism, it could start in banking, whatever the bill is, it'll go into a committee to start. Once it gets out of the original committee, it has to go through committee, get voted on in committee to get pushed up. And then the three that have to deal with money is rules, ways and means, and codes. So they determine, does it affect anything in our code? Does it affect ways and means? So money, does it affect rules? Is there some rules that have to be changed? Those are the three major committees, and whatever ones they send it to, then it would have to get out of that committee and go to the floor for a vote. And that's how it gets to the floor. It's got to go through the committees. Now, how it really works as a Republican.
I was going to say, if you want, you can get into that, sure. But before you do that, does anybody have any questions just on the basics, like how it works, basically? Do we all remember our civics from high school? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Go ahead then, Dave.
Oh, okay. That's easy. Nobody has any questions. So
no one had any questions, so I guess they all knew that.
they will after I tell them exactly how it works. So the political end of it is the Democrats have supermajority. So they have a supermajority in the Assembly, supermajority in the Senate, and they have a Democrat governor who does whatever they tell her to do. So meaning there's 150 Assembly people divided by population throughout the state. There's only 46 Republicans, 104 Democrats. So 75 plus 1 is what you need. Obviously, 150 divided in half, you need 76 votes to pass. They have 105, 106 people. So they usually say, okay, when in their own committee, if they get 80 votes out of their 100 and some, then they'll put it on the floor. If they get 80 people, say, yeah, we'll vote for this, because they have never put a bill up that doesn't pass. If a bill, a few times in my career, they've put up something that's been very controversial that a number of Democrats don't like, And if it doesn't get muster with them, which they always vet it to say they have the votes, but a couple times some people have turned and it's gotten down to the wire and they just pull the bill. They'll never let it go to defeat. So there hasn't been a Democrat bill defeated on the floor in 40 years. They pull the bill before it can get to that point. So as a Republican, okay, these are statewide bills that become law. I can always introduce a bill called a home rule, which is just for my district. Maybe a school needs an insurance fund. They want to rename a road. They want a piece of parkland. Okay, these are all little things that are in my district since they don't affect anything else in the state. That's a home rule. And those are usually automatic because they don't affect anybody else. But again, because of the politics, the majority will not allow our home rule votes to come up until the very last day of session. And they do that because, and they'll tell you, to keep you in order during the year. You don't get out of line. You get out of line, maybe we're going to hold your home rule bill. And which is really crazy stupid, but they have super majority power. So let me go back to my bill. So let's say I've got a lot of bills. I have a bill it's called the heartbeat bill. So it says that any woman who is pregnant before she can have an abortion must have an ultrasound, because statistics show that 70% of women, when they have an ultrasound and see what's going on, they will keep it. And the amazing thing is 80% of men who see the ultrasound want to keep the baby. It's a crazy thing. But that's a statewide bill. That's something that affects the state. There has not been a Republican name on a statewide bill in New York State in over 40 years. Every bill that comes up on the floor in New York State, every day I'm there, is a Democrat bill with a Democrat name on it. I hope you understand that. My job is to go to Albany and vote on Democrat bills. They write all their stuff. They write up, they probably in their conference probably have 10,000 bills. We do probably 1,500 a year, which is 10 times more than most states. Most states do between 100 and 200 a year. We do 1,500. Sometimes we've done 2,000. And every one a Democrat bill. So that's how it works. So when I want to get all of my bills, make English the official language, my agriculture bills, I was ranker on small business, so small business bills to help businesses, tax reduction bills, all the bills that I've written, they never make it out of my first committee. Okay, whatever committee it goes to, say it goes into a banking committee, the majority, they control the committees, super majority. So all our Republican bills they're held. So they get held. Okay, so my bill comes up in the committee, hold, okay, means it goes in the garbage and we'll see it next year. And then it'll go into committee again, next year it'll get held. All Republican bills get thrown in the trash. None, unless it's a home rule bill, nothing gets out of committee. Nothing makes it to the second committee, nothing. So that's how it works in New York State. Supermajority, they control every penny, every aspect, everything we do. They've gotten, when Sheldon Silver was a speaker, if we got out of line on the floor, which I did a few times because that's who I am, but there was a time somebody said something, he shut off all of our computers and electronics in our district offices for 2 weeks, which means we couldn't go on, we couldn't do our job. Couldn't access a bill, you couldn't access what's going on. Our staff was blind. Shut off our phones. Okay, so constituents couldn't call. We couldn't call out. I mean, that's how petty it was, and that's how it is right now. They have supermajority. They put their foot on our heads, and we're not allowed to participate in government. It sounds weird. It sounds cringy, but I'm just telling you the God's honest truth. And it's sad, but that's been the way it is in New York State. And a lot of people don't want to tell you the God's honest truth about how it really works, but that's what happens. I go up there and I just fight them all the time. Like today, I had a bill, not a bill, but they put up a bill, which I didn't like, and I got up and spoke on it, and they weren't happy about it, but that's my job, to debate their bills, okay? And so I hope that clarifies for everybody, okay, the way it should work, in a bipartisan nature, when you've got, say, one party controls one aspect of the House, one party controls the other, then you've got, okay, then you work across the aisle, which we did for years up until 2018 when we lost the Senate. We had a Republican Senate. So it was all different then. I had a bill, I gave it to my senator, and then we worked with a Democrat across the aisle. And a Democrat in the assembly, the senator and the Republican senator, the Democrat assembly person would work together and get it passed. That doesn't happen anymore. It's one house, it's one party. Republican bills are not considered, to the point now, up until about 2 years ago. You gotta remember, because I'm telling you this because everything's changed up there from when we had the Senate. The far left has taken over New York State. And I want to tell you this with all sincerity and passion. It's not the same state it was 8 years ago. We've got the communists run New York State, and I'm not saying that offhand. There's 17 communists in the assembly. Those are members of the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. They're members. Technically, by Constitution, you can't be a member of that party and be an office holder. But that's another story for another time. But everything has changed. The moderate Democrats, Mike Dendecker, Joe Lenthal, they're all gone. AOC people, and here's another tidbit. AOC, when she got elected, her goal was to take over the state. I mean, people don't tell you that, but she's run over 40 primaries against her own Democrat party. She ran every conservative Democrat, Robin Schiminger in Buffalo, Joe Lenthal down in Long Island, all these Mike Dendecker in the city. She's gotten her communist socialist people, and she's run primaries against over 40 of them and won over 35. So they've taken over, and that's in the Senate also now. And so I'm just telling you this because it's because the point I'm trying to make is 2 years ago, the Democrats, our goal is to work with the Democrats, go across, they've got the power, try and get them to like a bill and take it to the floor. And I've done that on a number of occasions up until 2 years ago, that now the far left controls it with such an iron fist. They told their leader, who told us, they're no longer accepting Republican bills. If a Democrat in their conference takes a Republican bill, they're going to be ousted right out of their party. That's how bad it is. That's our job. That's my job, is to advocate for my constituents and advocate for things that I think are good for the state. And for Democrats to tell us that they no longer will even look at any of our bills, it tells you everything you need to know about New York right now. So I think I went a little long-winded, but I wanted to give you the bottom of the barrel in the box. This is how it actually works up there. And give you, sorry if it's bad news, but that's how New York State works. And it's not pretty, folks. It's not pretty.
So that doesn't surprise me. I think we've had conversations, and I think I'm very aware of the scenario up there. But I know there's some questions. Let's see. So Danielle, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was going to ask about moderate Democrats. I had my hand up before you mentioned it, but moderate Democrats, then they're under the same kind of pressure also to stay in line as the Republicans. Like in order for them to serve their communities, they're having the same problem. And so, but they need to vote. They actually have to vote with the Democratic Party, otherwise they're going to be ousted. So that's a little bit there's no way to deal with that.
No, you are correct. A lot of them have quit. 3 years ago, 2 Democrats on the last day of session announced they were retiring. And I knew both of them, and Steve Hawley from Batavia was good friends with them. We'd go out to dinner with them. And so we called them over while we were in chamber, and they came over, said, we're talking to them, and we were like, what's going on? Both of them said, I can't get my bills through my own party. They scream at us because they don't like what we stand for, because we're moderate. We're Democrats, but we're moderate. And they both said, we don't need this anymore. I don't want to deal with these people anymore. It's all changed. They'll tell you themselves, it's all changed. Marianne Buttonshaw just announced, who's a really nice lady up there, and she's in a real conservative district, and we've tried to run against her a couple times, but she's so strong, everybody likes her, and she wins. And she's a nice moderate. She just quit. She says I'm not running again, and there's like 3 of them not running this year. This is happening every year. About 3 or 4 of them just quit. They just say I'm done. I've had enough. I can't. I'm getting shouted down. I can't get my bills. I can't do anything anymore. They've been taken over by the far left, and they're radical. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. These are radical people. These are the Mamdamis. Mamdami was in there. These are the radicals of the world that are now running this party. And there's very little, this year they made a big effort because of last year with the radicals were just screaming at us, even though we're super minority and we can't get a bill to the floor. 2 years ago, they cut our debate time. I don't know if you saw my video last couple weeks ago. They cut our debate time after 40 years. A couple of years ago, they cut it in half. The very first day of session this year in January, we go into conference, our own conference. Sorry, folks, we just got a note from the Democrats. They're cutting your debate time again in half. We have no time to debate.
But
So-
isn't there a recourse, like some kind of rules that are, like, I know they can change the rules all the time. They change the New York Constitution, they change everything, but isn't there recourse for the representation of the people of those districts, that they get representation, that they can advocate for their community instead of just staying in line with the party?
No, they don't. Again, it's all iron fist. The people don't really know what goes on up there, and so they don't. There's no one trying to change. They change the rules, not us. I mean, they control every microcosm of Albany, and they change the rules. They could wipe out our debate time if they want, but they've made it so that literally we have. You get on a budget bill that's worth $100 billion or $58 billion, and it affects your district. And there's 30 people that want to talk now. 4 people can use their time up, and the debate's over. You can't even debate it. You can't even. It could be so important to you, but you won't even be able to debate it because they've limited the time.
So when you say they've limited the time, is that everybody's time or just each individual person's time?
Well, the individual person's time, yeah, they knocked that down.
Okay.
But then they also limited the time on so say a bill comes up, it used to be 3 years ago, it used to be every member could get 15 minutes, and then you could go back in the queue for another 15. Once everybody that pressed the button to speak spoke, then you could press the button again and get another 15 minutes. So 3 years ago, they limited it to just you get 15 minutes. Okay, now there is no coming back in the queue for a second 15. And then this year when they came in, they limited the debate. Now we get 10 minutes, and they limited the debate time on every bill to like 3 hours, meaning if we wanted to, which we never really did. I always propose that we do, because they put up 1,500 bills a year. I'm like, you know what, let's just filibuster them. Take your 15, take your second 15, 10 people, that could be 5, you could go 5-10 hours, no problem. And then you're done with the day, and they've only gotten 1 or 2 bills up when they want to get 40 or 50 up. I mean, but that was the only hammer we had to try and stop it. Well, they knew that, so they limited that. They took it away.
They took it away. And now you're facing that if you do that, if you do, use all the time you possibly could have, they're going to turn off your power in your district.
Well, they don't want to hear us. They really, you have to, like, if you look at
They don't want to
nationally,
hear
they
us.
don't want to hear anything we say.
Yeah, 100%. It's not even just you, Dave. They don't want to hear, like Danielle says, me or Danielle or anybody else who thinks
Exactly.
like
It's not personal to me. It's everybody. They just don't want to hear our conference anymore, because that's
I have
they
a
put up
question.
a bill.
hold on one second. So we've got a few questions. John, Bill, if you have a question, raise your hand and I'll get to you, okay?
Where's the hand thing on this?
It's at the bottom. John?
Hey, Dave, I just want to mention, I love it when you say the walls are dripping with corruption. It's crazy. I love that.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah, it's hey, true. It's true. And so, any of you, if you, I want to just this, if you come up next week, let's come down on the floor. You can come down the floor. We can sit right there, and you can watch some of these proceedings, and we'll see if we've got something that you have questions on. You know, you'll be able to watch the debate and see how it works. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You won't see a Republican name up there. You'll see how it works if we get into a debate, and it's eye opening when you get to see it. It's not the same as when I say it, but when you get to see it, I think it sinks in a little better.
I think that's,
Well, the
I
same
think that's a
thing,
great-
the same thing with speaking face to face with different people. It is eye opening, and I really enjoy going into the offices and speaking with people and giving information and hearing their responses. It's also very eye opening. There's nothing like it. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say again? Yeah, me?
That's you, yes.
Okay.
Patrick,
You broke up there for a second.
sorry.
So I have a question. You mentioned people who quit because of the way they were treated by their own party, right? By the radicals in their party.
That's correct.
Are those people recruitable to the other side, to the Republican side, because of their bad experience?
No, not normally. As much as if we're friends with them, they're Democrats, okay, and some of them are pretty far left Democrats, but they're not far enough. The
Hmm.
Democrat Party now is looking for people who are Mamdani types. They've taken over people. When Mamdani was running, I told people months ago that when he wins, because there was no
Hmm.
question he was going to, he will become the face of the party nationally. And the day he won, I said the Democrat Party, as we know it, is dead in this country. It's dead.
Right.
Okay,
So,
Mamdani, the
so
communists have taken it over,
yes.
and
So him,
that's the
so so that old party being dead tells me maybe how many of these people who quit are there, do you think? Is it 10 or is it 3 or is it 20 or what?
between the ones that quit and the ones that have been primaried, at least 50.
Okay. Sounds
But
good to me.
they're in huge Democrat districts.
Yeah.
That's why they lost. The far left comes out and supports the radicals, and so they
Mm,
lose to a radical. There's no way a Republican's going to win in those districts. A lot of those city districts are 80% Democrat minimum. So you're
right.
not going to win as a Republican.
They must have had some kind of following in order to get there at least. So perhaps there's some remnants of what got them there that could also be worked on. I mean, I know this is a totally, completely, and ridiculously uphill battle, but it seems like one that is worth considering, if not fighting.
Well, we have tried a few times. Um, and we get crushed. You can't go into this New
Yeah.
York City. It's New
So
York City. You remember Escape from New York, that movie
Yes.
with,
Yes,
yes,
I do.
that's what I call New York City the rotten apple, and they hate that. I get on the floor and I say all the time, New York City, it's a rotten apple. There's nothing good about New York City anymore, and they go nuts. The people that live out there, the New York City
Got it.
people. But I don't care because it's true. It's true. It's
Yeah.
not like it used to. I go when I've been to New York, and I haven't been
Hmm.
there in a few years now, but I just remember it just being,
Hmm.
it's so corrupt down there. It's not funny. We took our
Oh,
daughter to
yeah.
Toronto last summer. What a difference between Toronto. What a beautiful city,
Yeah.
clean, friendly. And then you go to New York City and people are getting punched in the face right on Times Square. There are people walking around with machetes, and
Mm.
there's drunks and drug addicts all over the place. And the whole city, ask anybody who goes down there,
Hmm.
the whole city smells like pot. It all
Yeah,
smells like pot.
that is true. That
I was
last
going to
thing
say,
there is
Patrick is
100%.
from New York City. David, he's actually from Brooklyn, right?
Yes, I am. Yes,
So,
but I do see a lot of change over the, not even, never mind, half my life hasn't changed since, but in the last, like you say, 5, 10 years has been a massive change. So I want to ask about the people who make up the Democratic Socialists of America in the New York State legislatures.
Mhm.
Where are they actually from originally? Do we know?
Well, it's so funny because a lot of them, they're from here, but their roots. So
Yeah.
they all split up into their little
Hmm.
fiefdoms. Okay, it's not like
Uh-huh.
I say we're all Americans. They don't. They have
Right.
Jamaica Day. They have Puerto Rican Day. They have Somali Day. They have the Samoa
Ah,
Island Day. They have
okay.
Filipino Day. I mean, they have all these. you name it. They're all every week we've got a different day going on. The Caribbean Day, celebrating a different aspect of the assembly, which
Yeah.
I just say, how about American Day?
Yeah,
Okay.
seriously. July 4th. So the last question, because I don't want to hog all the time, but
Okay.
you mentioned something about a rule that they completely routinely ignore. And I can't recall what it was. It was something about how bills get done or how debate time is allocated or something. It was one that you said they don't even consider it, but it is a rule. Do you remember what that was that you mentioned?
I'm trying to think of what that was. My mind's
It'll probably
blank on.
come to you later, so I'll let the
Okay,
I'll
I'm
let the
trying to
meeting
think of
roll on, and
what
I'm
that
We
sure
have
it'll
was.
a
pop into your head.
We have a
Thank you.
transcript, Patrick.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
And you're welcome to come back into the queue with questions, Patrick, if you want. Bill, I'm going to have you go next because I know your hand was raised before Alan's, but you had to find that button. So why don't you ask your question, Bill? Now he's got to figure out how to unmute. Can you figure out how to unmute?
The microphone with the red line through it, just touch it.
You got to make it come up first. Just touch anything on the screen, and the bottom row of whatever icons will come up, and one of them's the mic.
To the far left, yes, the one to the left.
Yeah.
Well, if he's on his phone, sometimes I have different pages on my
Yeah.
Zoom.
Ah.
And
Well, Bill's trying to find it. Alan,
Mhm.
why don't you go?
Sorry, Bill. Sorry to jump ahead of you.
Well, we tried. I tried doing it in order and like the rules, right? Go ahead, Alan.
I feel like I'm being treated like a Republican right now. I got put aside all of a sudden. Dave, I got treated like you.
Yeah.
Dave, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this. I'm not normally with these meetings. I'm with other meetings, but I'm kind of blurring the lines a little bit. But I'm friends with the people here. And I really appreciate you coming on like this and just letting us meet you more personally
Mhm.
and just be able to ask you questions directly. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Now, when I heard you just describe what goes on, it sounds so hopeless that you might you just would be tempted to say, go, just forget about it. So I'm wondering, in your mind, if the elections were valid, do you think that there would be enough Republicans in there to basically
100%.
Okay.
Really?
100%. If you had fair elections, I've got videos when I first started here years ago. People were showing me all sorts of videos of buses and vans going up. What they do is they take a van full of people and they give them a 3x5 card. This is who you are. Because remember, anyone can vote in New York City. They made it legal a bunch of years ago for illegals to vote. Okay, not in statewide, but in New York City elections. How do you think Mamdani won? 60% of the people that voted for him were illegal aliens. Okay, that's just fact. So if they would take the story was they're showing the people going around in vans, they go in and vote. This is who you are. They get back in the van, they give them $10, $20, whatever it was. They go to the next polling place, they give them another 3x5. This is who you are here at this polling place. They go in. I mean, you can Google that one lady who said, I voted 17 times today. It's true. They do vote like that. And don't think they don't let them vote. But they're not going to vote in statewide elections. Are you kidding me? Of course they're going to vote in statewide elections. And I tell people, it's tough to be positive, but here's the positive where we can change this entire state. And unfortunately, what I don't have is a lot of hope that people around the state are going to come out and vote. The fact is, whoever wins this governorship in 7 months, 8 months, whatever it is, will control redistricting and will control the census. That's huge because in New York City, under Biden, we imported, how do you think New York City kept up its population? They imported over 2.5 million illegals are in New York City right now. Okay, you control the census as a Republican governor, you can nullify those people voting. And then that will totally take the power out of the city and start switching it all the way to more west, which is more Republican. And it'll up, because right now, and I'll go back to but right now, as I said, when I gave you the numbers, there's 150 assembly people, 104, 105 are Democrats, right? 82, remember that number, 82 are from New York City. Everything they do has to be vetted in their conference from New York City. Why do you think New York City dominates everything we do? Because not one bill comes to the floor in their conference without New York City saying it's okay. I tell this all the time. Crystal Peoples-Stokes in Buffalo is the first African-American floor women leader. She's probably the fourth or fifth most powerful woman in the state. She's the floor leader for the Democrats from Buffalo. She can't even get her bills on the floor in her own conference unless New York City says it's okay. So New York City takes every penny. We used to, myself, Senator Gallivan, Senator Ort, Senator Borrello, we always joke, we used to get crumbs in the budgets. We don't even get crumbs up in this part of the state anymore. I mean, they're so broke and so in debt in the city as a state, they're taking everything. They're taking everything. Remember the billion for Buffalo, anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. A $250 $250 billion budget, 250 billion. They were giving Buffalo, the second largest city in the state, $1 billion. Okay, so it's like everybody's like, oh, this is great. But you never read the fine print, did you? It wasn't 1 billion that year. It was 200 million over 5 years. 200 million a year for 5 years on a $250 billion budget. All they could give Buffalo was 1 billion, but it was over 5 years. That's how poor it is. That's how bad this is. It's crazy. But so we control the redistricting. We control the census. The census is the biggest one because if we don't control the census, it'll happen like in 2020 under Cuomo, him and Letitia James. I won't go into the long story, but I've got it written down. They screwed the census. They added about 2 million people to the city because the people are flying out. The black population is the number one out-migration population in New York City by far. The middle-class blacks are fleeing out of the city, over 100,000 a year just on the middle-class blacks. That's why the whole demographic of that city has changed and is changing rapidly, and the out-migration. So if we lose, they will pound all those fake numbers into New York City, and then they control the redistricting, which means then we get no shot at gaining any seats or anything like that. So we got to win this governorship. If we don't, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of good news. It'll be the same cast of characters running the state into the ground, and it's not going to get better.
Okay,
All right,
you hear me
Bill,
now?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bill. Yeah, you
Okay,
found the
so
unmute button.
I have a couple questions. I'm a committeeman in Blooming Grove here. I've been really active with the party for
Good.
10 years in
Good.
New York State. Involved in all Trump elections.
Good.
So Florida wins the popular vote this time by 1.4 million. It only won by 114,000 in 2016. So it was a big shift there.
Huge.
So is Florida like the reverse of New York where the Democrats don't get anything in?
No, actually, it's not. The Democrats,
Okay.
it's a more fair governing system in Florida. They don't have a majority, but they get their fair share of stuff down in Florida. It's not like Florida Republicans don't run it like the Democrats in New York State do. The Democrats in New York State are so heavy-handed, heavy-fisted.
Right.
No, other states don't. No, it's not. It's California and New York probably would be comparable.
Okay. The next question I have is, so we won in New York State in 2024. I think 48 Trump was red, 48 counties out of 62 approximately.
Well, yeah.
In that range.
Yep.
So it's a majority in the counties. Why don't we have any leverage through our Republican committees over the entire state, and at least in terms of something?
Well,
A unified 48 counties. Can't we
Let me tell you, that's a great question. I'll tell you,
Mhm.
I got a great answer for you. Two of them.
Good.
Start with when I first got elected, the very first day in Albany in January 2013, the SAFE Act,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
57 counties opposed the SAFE Act.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see anything happen? Nothing. Nothing. They don't care. And then let's go back to
Right.
1982.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Lehrman, who owned all the Rite Aids. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember that guy's name. You might be too young. Lou
No.
Lehrman, who owned
Thanks, Dave.
all,
Now I just dated myself when I said I knew it.
yeah. So Lou Lehrman ran for governor against
Mm-hmm.
Mario Cuomo. Lou Lehrman won almost, I think, every county except the boroughs in New York City, and he lost.
That's unbelievable.
Yep, he won. I think he won every single county, but he lost the 5 boroughs, New York City, the 5 boroughs, and he lost the election. So that's how
Okay.
deep New York City controls us, and it's even worse
That's
now.
good insight. The
Yep.
last thing would be, so we had Elise running, and I was fortunate to meet her before Thanksgiving with Danielle and Ruben Estrada, and we really felt energized. And then Blakeman got in. I mean, I think Blakeman's great for down in his area. I mean, we really need somebody like a lieutenant governor like Elise. I mean, this would be maybe the duo that could. You got to separate this now. You can't. One person's going to pull off the whole act anymore. That's my opinion, except for a Democrat. And it's not really Hochul. She'll probably get primaried by Delgado. Okay,
Yeah.
so my thing is I think we got to think of this in two ways. Like Joe Pinion would be a great lieutenant governor.
Joe's
He's
great.
great.
Yep.
He's a great speaker. I met
Great
him
guy. Yeah, great
personally,
guy. I
and
know him. Yep.
oh, phenomenal. But we got to think in terms of we need a 1-2 punch. One person to handle the North, one person to handle the boroughs and Long Island and stuff like that. And I don't understand why Elise. I don't see why she couldn't handle that aspect, but you know.
She's not going to run for lieutenant governor.
Mm.
Without going in too far into the weeds, well, I think you just hit on it. Elise, when she was running, I can tell you right now, up in Buffalo, Western New York, I had people calling me literally every day. I was talking to people who wanted to be on Elise's team. They were energized. There was so much energy in this, and this was throughout the state. I mean, it was set up for victory, woman on woman, which is what you needed to beat Hochul. And also Elise, for a Republican, a year away from an election, being within 5 points, some saying leading, some within 2. Never. I go back the history of New York. It's never been the way. The Democrat has always been up 20 to 30 points to suppress the vote of all the polls. The Democrats always crushing it. And so a year out for Elise to be neck and neck, you saw the energy throughout the state. Every aspect, every corner of the state, there was so much energy. When she pulled out, when Blakeman would not get out of the primary, and then she pulled out, you heard a big hissing sound of the air getting blown out of the bubble when the bubble pops. That's it. And now I'm up in Western New York, Buffalo area. There's no energy. There's zero. Blakeman hasn't even been up here maybe once or twice for a day. Okay, he's not coming up. He's not making the rounds. We're going into February. There's no energy, and unfortunately, that's going to kill us. It's a great. He'll help Long Island. The rest of the state's screwed. Sorry. Yeah, what he did when he wouldn't, for his own ego, he wouldn't get out of the race. I won't go on public and blast him because we need every vote. We've got to win this election. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We had a lot of momentum with Elise Stefanik. It's gone. And it's up to Blakeman to get it back. I'll just say this, he's not doing a very good job of it.
There's a question in the chat, kind of going back to when we were talking about the basics.
Sure.
If the governor doesn't sign a bill, can a governor veto be overridden by a 2/3 majority?
Yes, it can.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it
So
can.
even if we had a Republican governor, they might still have the votes to override it, but it would still be more of a challenge that way.
They
right?
would, if you had a Republican governor, but they had 2/3 control of the Assembly and the Senate. It takes both, not just one
Right,
house. Yeah, they could. Here's the reason they would do on some bills that they deem are important to them,
right.
but a lot of them they wouldn't because the governor would be controlling the budget and the funding, and they all want their money. We don't get it, but they do. Like right now, the budget's gone from 250 billion, now it's up to 265 billion in 1 year. It's 260 to start, but the Democrats in the Assembly just added on another 5 on top of the 260. So, on the preliminary budget. So now you're at, what they do, so they go into conference every day, right? We sit on our hands. There'll be nobody. I posted this the last few years. I post every day, post pictures. There's no one in the chambers. There's no Democrats in the chambers. We're in there because the way it works now is they changed the voting. You used to sit up until a few years ago. I'd go in, we sit in our seats. Everybody had to be in their seat because you vote green or red. A budget, even though it's a Democrat bill, you got to be in your seat and you have to push the red button or the green button or red button, whatever you want. But since they have supermajority, they said, no, we don't have to be in our seat. It's all of our bills. We vetted them. We want them. So every bill that goes on the floor, everyone's button automatically, when it comes to voting, automatically turns green. If you want to vote against the bill, you have to come down in your seat and physically push the red button. Otherwise, all the bills are green. It's corrupt as can be. Okay, I'm in my seat every day. I have to because I'm the number one person year after year in New York State that has the most no votes of anybody. I vote against their junk all the time. Okay, because a lot of it, I hope you understand this, a lot of it is one house bills. So what does that mean? It means a Democrat puts up a bill, but they do not have a Senate sponsor. So we could debate it for 4 hours. It could be a stupid bill, and I could give you a million of them. But then when it's over and they voted in, you make say, oh, we passed it. No, you didn't pass anything. Since there's no Senate sponsor, it goes in the garbage. We'll see you next year. Do you understand that? So we waste our time. We debate bill after bill with just because the Democrats want to say, I got my bill passed. They lie to their constituents. Oh my gosh, that bill got passed. That's going to be great. And then they realize a year or two later, what happened? You got the bill passed. Well, there was no Senate sponsor. It didn't become a law. It just went in the garbage. And they never tell them that. But there was a time when I can go back about 6 years ago, before 8 years ago, because it was right before we lost the Senate, where we went up every week, January, February. We never saw one bill with a Senate sponsor until March 6th. So we went up there and did nothing. We literally debated one House bill, hundreds of them, voted on them, and they go right in the garbage. And, none Republican, but there's nothing. I have a rule. I'm never going to see the light of day that you can only put a bill up on the floor if you've got a Senate sponsor, something that's meaningful that can become law. We shouldn't be voting on. We average over 1,000 Democrat bills a year that don't have a Senate sponsor. What are we doing? What a waste of time. I don't know. Does that make sense? Do you understand that?
Yeah. Is it the same the other way? So is the Senate debating bills that have no assembly, or is the assembly just basically the crazy of the?
I think it's the assembly. I think the Senate doesn't do they do some, but not as much as we do. They never do as many bills as the assembly does.
Okay. So it means more when there's a Senate bill that's alone, it's more likely to get an assembly sponsor, probably.
It depends. There's only 63 senators, so yeah, they don't put up as many bills. So they don't have it. We got 150. They got 105, 104, 105, depending on the year, 106, 7 Democrats. So, each one of them is, they're trying to get as many bills up. At the end of the year, we do rapid fire.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. The one year I had it timed on my phone a bunch of years ago. We were doing a bill every 42 seconds. You had no time to look at it. It just came up, vote, next, vote. And they would go, okay, everybody's got to be in their seat. Now you don't even have to be in your seat. It just goes green and then next vote. Green. I mean, you got to be there if you want to vote no, but they're not even in their seats. They're not in chambers. They're not doing the work that they're paid to do. They're not there. It gets so frustrating. Like today, I don't think there were 25 Democrats in their chairs out of 100 and some. They were all gone. They swipe in. Here's another thing. So what they used to do all the time, because they've got the supermajority, they would swipe in and then go home. Because now all their votes are, once they get swiped in, they're in the queue and the vote comes up green, all their votes are counted. So they go home. I mean, that's so corrupt. But they do this all the time. Well, yesterday, yesterday they had a kid guard checking for the first time ever. I saw it. We walked in. He said, "Can I see your ID?" I said, "Gladly." I said, "We said, what is there gonna?" I didn't know what he was doing. I said, "Is there going to be trouble?" Because a lot of times you get pretty raunchy people come up, in the chambers that are lobbyists, but not lobbyists, just protesters. And he said, "No, I'm checking ID, just making sure everybody is who they say they are." Because their staffer comes in, swipes them in. The people don't even they're home. They don't even come in for the week. They have their staffer just swipe them in. It's so corrupt. I'm telling you, it's so corrupt.
No, it's interesting to me, like to get some eyes on just what you're talking about with some of the bigger influencers on the right, if that would have any impact at all, you know.
No, that we
Like the Nick Shirley thing, how that went viral, I mean, that's, they were forced to cover that on the left, you
well
know.
Well,
they
that's what I was thinking about with the budget too. I was going to say that all this money being spent, who's actually watching it?
Nobody. The Senate
So,
Republicans we just called out 3 weeks ago, had a press conference. Nobody covered it. We asked for an independent audit on a number of budgets in New York State because we know. And they said, no, Democrats control the whole process. They said, no, we're not going to do any independent audits. The thing is, it makes, I can tell you right now, the corruption in New York State makes Minnesota look like a kindergarten. Okay, they just on the tip of the iceberg. What's his name just went in and found $1.2 billion in waste fraud in the Empire Health Plan. $1 billion already without even digging into it. They found this. And what the SNAP benefits, which New York State has probably the highest in the country, all these different welfare benefits. What did Trump ask all these states? Can you just send over your SNAP information so we can verify it? 17 sanctuary states said, no, we're not sending you over anything. Why? Why would you not send over? Okay, you don't want, because they don't want you to verify the fraud. There's a lot of people getting a lot of money off of this. People got to understand this. This is not, government is not your friend, I can tell you.
I mean, it's the same with just even the voter rolls, right? The Department of Justice
Yes.
literally suing for the voter rolls, and that's because if they dug in, they're not doing anything they're supposed to be doing with the voter, according to the National Voter Registration Act or HAVA. Let's see, we've got Steve. Why don't you go next, Steve Gillen?
Yeah, so we know the situation, okay, and you look at it and you say, oh, where's a possible option? All right, and it's what, 11 seats difference to flip the Senate. Why doesn't the Senate put up candidates?
Good question. I'll tell you this.
They don't even put them up for a vote. They don't even run them. We had down, and 90% of those vacant Senate seats are in the city, in the 5 boroughs.
Let me tell you, Steve, the year we lost the Senate and the whole state changed when we did, we got crushed. The year we lost, we've been in the assembly, we have a good ground game, and we're more hands-on. The Senate has always been, and I'm not degrading them, I'm just saying it's more of an elitist institution, and they don't run good campaigns. When they had the majority, they did not run good campaigns. When we lost the Senate, each senator, they voted for themselves in an omnibus bill at the end of the year. They voted themselves approximately $6 million each for their campaign. And we still lost those Senate seats. They gave the Democrats, I think, $100,000 because they had the majority, but the Republicans gave themselves about $6 million. Okay, and we still lost because it's been a running conversation for years. The Senate really just doesn't run a good campaign for some reason. I agree with you. We should be taking out all those seats.
So then what does that tell you? I mean, it just tells us straight out that leadership has to change in the Senate. I mean,
Yeah.
it's to me, it's a no-brainer. All right. If they just keep on giving up and getting their little bits and pieces around. I met with somebody very important in Brooklyn today. And, and this tell me about what's going on in the city, all 5 boroughs. And it's disgusting. We're doing what we can to get, people to run down here. I mean, we're going to be turning over 6 candidates over in Brooklyn.
Let me tell you, I'm going to be honest with you right here because I have no love lost for this guy, and I won't get into tell you why. Ed Cox is our state chairman. He's worthless. He's worthless. He hasn't been up to Western New York in months. He doesn't do anything anymore. The guy's pushing, I don't know, 85 or something. Why they put him back in is beyond me. I have never been an Ed Cox guy. I've told him to his face. I'm not telling you guys anything. I haven't told him personally. He's run this party in New York State into the ground. Into the ground. When you talk about leadership, it's right there. This guy can't win. That guy has never won. He's been in there, 30 years now? He's never won a statewide race. The last race we won was Pataki in '94. Okay, so this guy, it's a joke, and that's you just talk about leadership. That's exactly it right there. We've got nobody at the top that can funnel this down and bring in young people or new people, more idea people. He does absolutely nothing, and I'm not ashamed to say it. He's my party chair, but he's not my guy. I don't have anything for the guy.
You're talking to the choir.
Yep.
All of us are right with you. Yeah. We actually think like Steve would do a better job at it.
Amen. Yeah, 100%.
He's got some great ideas that he's working on, and well, we've been not necessarily recruiting candidates, but we've been trying to educate people on what it takes to run, and doing a like Zooms. Educational Zooms, and then trying to refer those people to parties. And it actually is generating some interesting candidates. So, thinking out of the box seems to work. It's just, you need leadership to.
Right. You need leadership to bring it all together, and they don't. Okay. Ed Cox, and I don't know if you know Nancy Orticelli, my chief of staff.
Absolutely. We love
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy's connected with all the groups, right? She talks to everybody. She's such a mover and shaker. She's invaluable. And you know what? Ed Cox has never reached out to a grassroots organization ever. I can't remember him ever inviting any grassroots and saying, hey, you know what? We could use your help. We could use your help in this race. We could use your help statewide. Okay, Project Civica. Has he ever called up you guys and said, hey, why don't you guys, let's have a meeting? No, the guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't do a thing. He's worthless. There's so many people like you that can get involved and may actually make some changes, and the leadership doesn't do anything. For the first time, Mike Crocker is reaching out for the grassroots, which is a breath of fresh air.
Well, hopefully we had, if I don't know if you know what campaign we're doing for the 61st. Okay, so get out the vote campaign.
Who's that for?
For the 61st, up by you, Senate.
Oh, Gagliardo?
Well, we're not supporting him directly. We're doing a get out the vote campaign.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the numbers. I know the names.
All right. But anyway, we've had up in your area so far as of this morning, we had 58,000 views of the commercial to get out the vote in that district. Beautiful. And over 4,000 households so far.
That's what we need. The Democrats beat us to the punch.
But you know what? I tried to get to Crocker to basically at least tell him what we were doing, because where we can't coordinate with campaigns because we're a 501c4. So, and especially in New York, we've got to really be careful with sticking to the within the lines, if you will, on the the IRS rules. But I couldn't get, he did not call me back, nothing. Texted him, called them, emailed, no response. So, so much for reaching out to the grassroots.
So if they win up there, we're taking credit.
We are. Yeah. Anyways,
that's because Kim and Steve, that's how they're in the box people. They run everything with a cookie cutter. One size fits all. Oh, we're going to run direct mail. Direct mail doesn't work anymore. One or two pieces, that's it. You know, direct mail in the digital age, you can do 20,000 more pieces for a nickel on social media, and then you can do. But again, they get lost. And again, I remember a lot of times these lobbyists, the people that run these things, like I don't want to give you any names, but okay, they're going to tell them, oh, you should be on TV. Don't waste your money on TV. Throw it down the tube. You're flushing it down the toilet on TV in that race. That race is going to be social media, and get out the vote. Door to door, getting out the vote on election day, getting the people to come out, targeting your people, knowing who they are, and getting them out. Not just sending blanket stuff to everybody. That's a waste of money. You got to campaigns now are targeted, are
Right.
laser focus. You identify your people, and that's it. You get them out, and you get them to bring a friend out if you can. But that's who you target. You don't know none of this. You know, I'm going to mail 25,000 Republicans. You're wasting your money, and that's how these in the box. This is how most parties they haven't embraced. You know. Yeah.
Let's see, Alan, I'm gonna cut it off. So if last chance, if you got a question, raise your hands. Otherwise, we'll just get to these two. Alan?
So Dave, I don't know how private this communication is or not, but if I'm able to, would it be okay if I share it with town board members? What you shared, give them a link to this meeting? If it's available, I don't know, but I know it's recorded, but is that okay or not?
Fine with me. I haven't said anything I regret, even about our state chairman. Sorry, you
We're
know.
on YouTube, Alan.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're live streaming right now, and it's recorded on our channel.
Okay. I just want to make sure Dave's okay with that. Okay, thanks.
Annie, sorry, Annie Gullen?
Oh, I mean, it's up to you. They're gonna do something. So here's the thing. If you chase them to.
Okay, hi. Yeah, I mean,
Hi.
it seems like, how do you get Ed Cox out of his position? Because you need somebody that's gonna lead, like you, maybe.
No, not me, but
We can't just have somebody like that, doing nothing and really doing us, like a disservice to our party, by not representing us, really. I mean, how can you get him out?
the way the process works is the county chairs, like 60 county chairs come together. They have a weighted vote, and if someone runs and they can get the weighted vote, they become the chairman. But it's every 2 years, so Ed Cox isn't up for another year unless he resigns, unless
Too
there's a
bad.
coup where they just try and say,
Yeah,
Ed,
yeah,
enough's enough.
maybe
We
there
want to
should be a
change
coup.
on him. But that's how it works.
I think I muted Annie by accident. I was trying to find out where that background noise. And if you have a follow-up question, go ahead and ask it. You just have to unmute. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Last
Yeah,
question.
I mean,
You
it
do?
seems,
Go ahead.
There's Annie.
yeah, that he,
Sorry.
yeah, he should be, gotten out and called out on what he's not doing, because he's not representing his party at all by the way he's behaving. And if we don't have, like investigative reporting, like Shirley, that about what's going on in the floor, that the Democrats aren't even there and they're just pushing buttons. Like, that's one thing, but the voters, the illegal voters, how can we get that under control? I mean, we've got to do something about this.
We've been trying for many
Hey, back.
years. Yeah, part of it. Well, that
Yeah,
doesn't
but
really
there's got to be some kind of proof. We've got to get the proof. Like, that's got to be. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to get proof of voters. Like ID has to happen nationwide, let alone statewide.
That's the SAVE Act, and right now in Washington, they're trying to, it sounds like anyways, they're trying to add voter ID to the SAVE Act, which makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with the Senate. That's a whole other issue, because they have to get rid of something called the zombie filibuster. Somebody want to explain what the zombie filibuster is?
I'll look it up.
So
I'll look it up.
Okay. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's complicated, but that would help with federal offices. So you've got to realize that you've got different levels of people getting, different levels of offices, right? You've got your local, you've got your county, you've got your state, and you've got your federal. So the way the Constitution is set up, any changes federally would affect our federal elections, and we'll see what happens in terms of the state. And how how things change there. But the state or even locally can separate things out. It
Yeah.
actually is that way in Arizona. There's actually two sets of rolls in Arizona, for example. There's a federal ballot and a state ballot in Arizona right now. And there's different
Oh,
rules
yeah.
that apply to each ballot. Yeah. So, but
That seems crazy, though. Why
yeah,
why shouldn't it be standard throughout? I mean, for
well,
the
our
election integrity of our country.
Well, our method of government actually is more local controlled, right? It's not a big giant federal government, right? That's the way our Constitution is set up. It's more of a
Yeah.
federalist system, right? Where local control, except that, it's this at the state level and at the federal level, it's been growing, growing, growing. So, there's a positive to things, but there's also a negative. And, do we really want the federal government controlling all of our elections across the whole, in every state, right? Does
Well,
that,
I mean, controlling and just having the voter ID would be enough. I mean, if you had voter ID, you wouldn't have all the illegals that have invaded our country voting and changing our whole country. I mean, look what's happening. Let's in New York City, and like you said, it's just going downhill. We're
it,
getting
it,
socialists and communists in our
it
country,
definitely
and that
would.
shouldn't happen. And it's only happening because the illegals are allowed to vote
It's a big
somehow.
problem. Yes, it's a big part of the problem. There's numerous other
Yeah.
problems. I mean, garbage in, if you will, the data going into the voter rolls, for example. Everything is based on, low verification initially. And it's all based on trying to, at the end of it, cleaning up the rolls instead of, like you say, if there was more verification, stronger, rules, to be able to
Yeah.
register to vote. But then you have the problem, everybody who's legal should be able to vote. So
Of
it's
course.
complicated in terms of everything and what's going on. Actually, if we could just get our Board of Elections, for example, to just follow the law, because it is the law of New York State that only
Yeah.
citizens. Oh, yeah,
Follow the law. That sounds like a good idea, right? Oh
exactly.
my
But
God.
that's not what's
I
happening.
can't
So
believe that we have to even say that.
we have
It's
to even say that.
unbelievable to me.
Yeah, 100%. Sue, last question, and then we'll let Dave go. Sue,
Yeah, can you hear me?
we can. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to respond to Annie's question. Originally, when you asked Annie about, how do we get rid of Ed Cox, the answer is become a committee member. The committee members, they vote for the party leaders. And really and even when it comes down to things like, why can't we make illegals voting illegal? Again, it's a grassroots effort. We the people have to take back our country, and it starts by taking back our party. And it starts at the local level because all of that power just kind of like, it bubbles up, to the people that we elect in office and the party leaders. So right now, we're entering into the petition phase for becoming a committee member in a lot of the upstate New York counties. And it will last for I believe, I don't know the exact dates. I think it starts the end of February and runs,
24. Yep,
yeah,
February
and runs to
24th,
the
I
end of
believe.
March, where you can actually petition in your county, in your election district to become a committee member, and you will become a voting member of the Republican Party. And there's, it's a great time for everybody to get involved. And Patrick Wynn, one of the members of Project Civica, he's going to be conducting Zoom meetings every Monday night for the month of February to bring everybody up to speed on how that process works. So if you're interested and want to learn more about it, you can go on to the Project Civica website, look for the committee, look for the precinct strategy effort campaign, and sign up, and you'll get notifications and the links to the Zoom meetings. And I would encourage everybody, particularly the upstate counties, because a lot of them right now that they're entering in that petition cycle.
And even if downstate, if that just if you are considering it, just join, because next year petitions are downstate. So,
And one of the ways to do it is
Oh.
actually start going to your committee meetings and let the party get to know you and help out, and then that way you'll have support within the party for your process and help from them too as well. So
and
there's
any party, by the way, I just want
any party, right? That's why I'm not saying Republican, I'm saying party, yes. Conservative, Republican,
Yeah.
Democrat. I mean, obviously the Democrat Party has been taken over by communists. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Democrats need to do this as well. Take back their party, if you will.
Well, hopefully they are hearing, the truth about what's actually happening, because
Probably not.
as we know, yeah, that's the problem. And the thing that really upsets me is that I don't know where the Republicans were, a month after Biden violated his oath of office to defend and protect our Constitution and our borders from enemies, both foreign and domestic. Why didn't any Republicans do anything for 4 years to impeach him? Like they want to impeach Trump already, and also, it's just unbelievable how they're so active and so proactive, and we do nothing. I'm sorry to say, but I'm really upset with the Republican Party for doing nothing for 4 years.
but that's what we're doing here at Project Civica.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here.
So there was
Thank you,
actually,
guys.
Annie, so there was a question in here because we were talking about getting social media things out on social media. Roy had a question, David, can individuals video record in chambers, like on YouTube, that kind of thing? Can you, so if you had us on the floor and we wanted to show that no one's there, are you able to video that?
Yeah.
Is Dave still here?
Yes, you're muted, Dave.
I'm muted. Yeah, yes, you can. You're fine. Anybody can videotape. It's public.
Okay.
Public
So they are-
meeting,
All
public
right.
building. Yeah, you can tape anything you want. I tape all the time.
Okay. Well, I knew you
Well,
did.
then that's kind
No,
of investigative and reporting there, just to expose it. We need exposition, of what's actually going on
Yeah.
or not going on.
So before we go, I've got my own podcast. If anyone's interested, I do it with Pastor Al Robinson. He's a black pastor from the inner city of Buffalo. And you want to see a guy that's more conservative than me. And we're unfiltered. We do not hold back. So if you want some real entertainment, it's Silent Majority Speaks on X. And if you want to follow me, it's Silent MAJ David. Silent MAJ David, that's mine. And we call it out. And then I have my own radio show on Saturdays, noon to 1 in Buffalo. And I don't hold back there either. We just, I'm at a point in my political career where I just don't care anymore about Democrats and socialists. And I'm calling them all out. I'm calling out all the hypocrisy, all the lies. And we're watching it in front of our face. I get so upset when I watch TV and I see these people abolish ICE and they're attacking the truck, and then some cop comes after them because they just attacked people. They're going after these ICE agents and spitting on them. And then so a guy retaliates and puts them on the ground and everybody's screaming at him. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Most of these people, 90% of them are paid. That's going to come out. These are paid people by communist organizations. They should all be arrested, put in jail,
Yes,
and let's get to the bottom of
yes.
it, because I think the majority of this country doesn't want any of this, and they just have to be
Right.
shown. And people in the media,
Yes.
MSNBC, CNN, they should be arrested too.
We
Oh my God. Yeah.
we
Oh,
agree
Yeah.
that's
with
what
you.
you really think, Dave. You're speaking at a lot of people's heart. You're speaking a lot of people's heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get our-
Thank you all for what you're doing. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Dave, thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate it greatly. And you are welcome back anytime. We will see you, I guess, on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. bright and early.
30 in the morning. I'll be there. Okay.
Okay,
See you
I'll
guys.
message you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a good
Bye,
evening.
Kim.
And anybody interested in signing up, there's still a sign up, and you're under no obligation. If you sign up, we'll send you the information and you can consider it. We'll give you the details.
Thing is that it's frustrating. There's no question that New York has major issues. But there are paths forward. Project Civica has been doing a lot of work in New York City, trying to bring the parties together, and bring not the parties, but bringing in the boroughs some of the factions together so that they can have a united front in each of their boroughs. For example, like Brooklyn. And trying to find candidates interested in running, and figuring out ways. We're not the party, but at this point in time, you can see where the party is. It's very weak, ineffectual, and at this point in time, us citizens are it. So let's go for it. Let's try. Let's push back. And one of the things we've noticed is, for example, last year we had something called the Common Sense Contract with, actually that might have been 2 years ago now, Common Sense Contract with New York State. And our efforts actually forced the Senate, the Republicans in the Senate, to come up with a platform because they had to compete against us. So sometimes the work we do forces the party to do what they're supposed to do too as well. So that if that's what it takes, then so be it, if you will. So there's a lot happening, and we are trying to get out the vote efforts. As Steve was saying, we're not advertising on mainstream media. We're actually using streaming services where you can literally target households and get into certain households that are conservative and Republican and try to get them out to vote. So there's a lot with new technology and new ideas and thinking outside the box. And, hopefully maybe some of the efforts that we do will force the party to start, doing more and changing. But, and this fraud that everybody's, it started in Minnesota, but we know that the Department of Justice and the FBI and at federally, they're looking at each of the states. So we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, like the news cycle switches so fast. I mean, over Christmas, it was insane how the stories went from one thing to another to another. So you don't know what's going to happen next week or the week after. And we do know that the FBI raided the election, the storage facility in Fulton County in Georgia, and took all of the 2020 ballots out and brought them to Virginia. So there's things happening. I have been looking for actual confirmation of it, but there were several ex sources that were saying that Tulsi Gabbard was actually there. So if that's true, that's interesting to me, because think about it. Tulsi doesn't run the Department of Justice. She doesn't run the FBI. She was involved with searching out the election fraud. That's what she was tasked with from 2020. And supposedly she's done a ton of research. So investigation. So if she truly was there in Georgia, in Fulton County, that's super interesting to me. And I haven't heard anybody mention that. So anyways, I just want to say don't lose hope. The solution is a lot of the changes federally that can affect us here in New York State, and working at the grassroots level, becoming committee people, doing stuff with Project Civica, whether it's financially or just, helping out as a volunteer, doing what you can do, trying to change the landscape. And that's really what we're trying to do. So, Danielle, do you have any other comments? And Steve, I don't know if you're on here, if you want to say anything. I just
Alan, there's two
I didn't-
questions, but do you want me to talk?
I
Or no?
just didn't want to, I don't want people to be, so discouraged. I think Dave has a role in Albany. His role is to be that line, right? That person that's standing up against all of it and still fighting back. And that's who we can look to for courage, right? He shows a ton of courage doing what he's doing. But that doesn't mean that our gifts and talents can't help too in our own way. And so
Well, yeah,
he's
I know
holding
that's
the
your heart.
line. if he needs to.
I know that's your heart. No, absolutely, but that's because we've abdicated our responsibilities for so long. And so in order to build it up, we have to fight back. And right now is the perfect opportunity. We have a lot of things happening that are actually moving in our direction, even though New York looks like it's really going the wrong way. At least there is a Department of Justice we could send reports to. At least there is legislation being proposed in Congress right now, and the executive orders are coming through. So we really need to actually, we have a very slim window to get a lot done, and we're putting in 15-hour days to get it done. And I know you're on this call, so that means it's important to you too. So whatever it is that God puts in your hand to move forward with, we'll work together as best we can. We can't, we're moving in a direction and we think we'll gain ground, but we can't wait until we're guaranteed of a victory. We just have to go for it. And I think that the Red Seal part or something will happen, or like Kim says, they'll swoop in just like they swooped in to, I keep saying Venezuela. I'm waiting for that Venezuela moment to come into New York or something. And that's all we can do. And we'll have the goods, we'll have the reports, we'll have the people ready to take, to help out, and we'll have the witnesses because we've been working on it. So that's what I think.
Is anybody, you said some people had their hand up? I didn't see.
Yeah, Alan, Bill, Brown, and Wilson.
Okay, Alan. Oh, I see. I was on the wrong screen here.
I just thought you didn't like me. That was going on.
No, I was, when we have on the top, like you click the arrows, I was like 3 over. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't personal, at least not yet. So my question is, so Dave, he's on the radio with that guy, Pastor Al Robinson.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Did
great.
anybody in your group actually manage to talk to this pastor? I mean, would he
Yes, he was
possibly have people in his congregation who are wanting to do something?
Okay, so Al Robinson was, we had him speak at our fundraiser in this past, when was that? June. He is great, but he is in the Lovejoy district, I believe it is, downtown, and his district is, yeah, I mean,
It's mission focused.
yeah, he's mission focused, serving a community, and basically, it's not like a church in the suburbs, right? It's a little different from what I understand. But he's very
It's mentorship.
yeah, I text him quite a bit, and I would love to get him more of a platform all across New York State. We've been talking about a fundraiser downstate, and we would like him to come down because his voice is really important. He's very, you know him. Do you remember the story about the guy who rescued all these people and fed them in his church a couple of years ago? That's the same pastor, Al Robinson. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no brethren or sisters in the church there that are.
It's from what I understand, it's not they're out in the community trying to help the people who are dealing with drugs and things like that. It's a different mixture. So yeah, it's not that they're not doing anything, but the mission that they're focused on in that area is a little different. That's all. Yeah. I mean, he's literally begging people for turkey so he can feed his congregation. I literally sent send turkeys to, to Nancy at Orticelli, that way to try to get food for the people that he's serving. So it's a little different focus. Yeah.
I mean, I've actually literally thought to go to his church just to meet him and to ask him if there were brothers or sisters who want to do stuff.
Well, I mean, I have never been to his church, so if you wanted to do that, that would be awesome. Yeah.
I want to drag you with me.
I could try.
I think
Bill,
you need. I think you
Along
need to
to
go.
where he is downtown. Yeah.
How
Anyways,
about that? We drag Kim. We'll take her down. Let's do that. Do it that way.
I go to church. It's not that I don't go to church. That it's so funny going downtown, and then that area would literally probably be close to an hour for me to get to. There's no easy way downtown. But anyways, Bill, did you have another question, Alan? Or
No, I just
okay,
that's it.
yep, Bill.
I just want to mention that there's a way to turn on saving the chat. And I sent the information to one of the two of you who said co-host. It's real simple. You go to settings, meeting tab, then for chat, there's one that says allow participants to save the chat.
Oh, so you're saying you want to save the chat and we have to set something up?
You basically have to click on a button that says allow participants to save chat.
Okay, is that something I can do right now?
I would think so.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah, it's under
I have
settings, meeting tab.
You already it's checked already. Allow all participants to share screen, chat, rename themselves on mute. It's already checked off. So you should be able to save the chat if you want.
I don't see it. I don't know why.
Mine says everyone and anyone participant can chat with it and save chat.
Yeah, that's what it should be, right?
I just saved the chat anyway, so.
We get it.
Okay, I'll go look for it. Thank you.
Are there any questions in the chat? Hold on one second.
Wilson.
Hey everyone, sorry. Thanks for getting what's his name? Sorry, I didn't even catch his name again. Daniel. I came in. Oh, sorry.
That's right, David DiPietro.
David DiPietro. Okay, yeah. I mean, I was listening to what he was saying. And it was really a great part that I actually caught, and I'm thinking. I don't know if he talked about leadership development, because I know the biggest problem right now is we just don't have good leaders, right? Like Ed Fox is not a good leader. A lot of the county chairs, I don't know them, at least the ones, because I live in Queens County. So I know that Mike, county chair, needs some improvement. Okay, I'll say that, to be kind. So, well, kicking the butt would be good, but I'm not the type to kick someone like.
I didn't know you heard that part. I'll mute.
Anyway, but I mean, like one of the things, like I think if that would help with in terms of our like developing stronger candidates is just having a leadership development program. Like I know people are like we say join the county committee, but quite often when people join the county committee, there's no. And this is something I've been wrestling with for the past 3 years because I joined the county committee back in 2022, 2023. Is that there's no real like development of county committee in terms of like how to grow as a leader, even in their own election district. Like most of the time they're just like, oh, we're on the county committee, and what's next? We don't know. Quite often you kind of have to like ask around, and that's something that I feel like. If we're going to develop stronger candidates, bring people back to a more reasonable like style governing in terms of like with the state assembly, state senate, governor, even on local races, city council, mayor's race, we need to have like county committee members who actually can speak to the issues and also know how to lead properly, right? And then, but quite often, like how do you lead? Quite often the issue is we don't know what we're. Get information. We don't know how to understand it, interpret it, how to even like just share it out. And that's something that at least that's from my own personal experience. I don't know if other people have had that same experience themselves, but that's something that is. Sorry, what?
Can I speak on that for a minute?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, are you done? Are you done, Weston? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you
done?
No.
That's really pretty much it. That's just my comment. And I was just
no,
maybe
it's a great point.
Probably a question I should have given to David, but I just, it was just, I didn't know if you guys talked about it much at all or something like that.
No, it's a
So-
great point. So I was on a call today and this morning, and with Steve Stern and a couple other bigwigs.
Do you
Say
want me
something?
do you want me to cut the recording?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Let me stop live streaming too, probably, right?